Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. I am Harrison Graham, and today's show is presented by Manscaped. You can get the best men's grooming products available for 20% off when you use promo code BEARS20 by going to manscaped.com. That is manscaped.com, promo code BEARS20. We are live from Radio Row in Phoenix, Arizona, as Super Bowl 57 is set to take place in 5 days between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles. We'll be bringing you Bears content all week. Now, obviously, we normally go live on Tuesdays. No live show today, but we will have a lot of shows that do go out on the channel, so you are going to want to be sure that you are subscribed. Let's go ahead and jump on into today's show. Rumor number one, could the Bears sign or trade for Chargers wide receiver Keenan Allen? There's a lot of buzz right now that Allen could be a cap casualty for Los Angeles. They're about $23 million over the cap right now, so they're going to have to finagle their roster a little bit. Khalil Mack's another guy they could cut or trade as well. But Keenan Allen, who's getting a little bit older, he's on the wrong side of 30. Cutting or trading him would save L.A. almost $15 million. Now, as this pertains to Chicago, you're talking about a really good player, right? Now, this year he missed 7 games, but was still very productive in the 10 games he did play, over 750 yards and 4 touchdowns. Prior 3 years had really, really big years, 2 1,000-yard seasons, and then probably 1 catch shy of 1,000 yards as well. Keenan Allen is a guy that I believe could really help Justin Fields. He's a great route runner. He consistently gets open, beats man coverage with ease, and I think the Bears could benefit from another player like that. And you're talking about a guy that, A, if you trade for him, I don't think you're having to give up that much because I do think he's a cut candidate, and B, I don't think you have to tie yourself down to him for very long. 1-2 years maybe, have a guy, a bit of a stopgap number one receiver option, and then maybe you get a true number one in the draft next year, say, maybe Marvin Harrison Jr. You never know what that could look like, but you bring a guy like Keenan Allen in here that could be a really quarterback-friendly type of option for Justin Fields. I'm fascinated to watch this play out in L.A. because I think he is a name to monitor as the wide receiver market is a little bit thin right now, at least as it pertains to free agent options. Now, a little more thoughts on Keenan Allen in just a moment, but I do want to ask you guys, especially those of you who have been watching Bears Now for a while now, how likely are you to recommend our show, Chicago Bears Now, to a friend, to a fellow Bears fan out there? Scale it from 1 to 10, 10 being you would absolutely recommend us to someone else, 1 being this show sucks and I should delete the channel. So let me know how likely you are. And if it isn't a 10, if it's, say, less than an 8, please let us know in the comments what's something we could improve on, any show ideas. Would love to get your feedback. Scale of 1 to 10, how likely are you to spread the word about Chicago Bears Now? Now, you look at the wide receiver position in Chicago, the conversation's been this for a while. You've got Darnell Mooney and Chase Claypool, who I think could be a really good 2 and 3, but you still lack that true number 1. Now, Keenan Allen isn't top end number, top 5 receiver in the NFL type of number 1, but I think he's like a tier 2 number 1 receiver. Like, think what Allen Robinson was in his peak in Chicago, right? Like, it's a guy that could come in, give you 1,000 yards, 70 catches, be a reliable option for Justin Fields. And if you bring him in here and slide Mooney down a peg, slide Claypool down a peg, Velus Jones, who finished the year strong last year, maybe he gets more involved as a speed weapon next year. You got Equinemius St. Brown back for another year who can help round out that unit. All of a sudden, you're feeling a lot better about wide receivers. So keep an eye on this with Keenan Allen. Now, another thing to consider here is at times, injuries have been a concern with Allen. I mentioned this year he did miss 7 games with the L.A. Chargers. But I will say this as we kind of chart his career here, season by season, I should say. From 2017 to 2021, he actually was very healthy. Early in his career, you see that he missed games, especially in 15 and 16, only played 9 out of 32 potential games there. This year, he did miss 7 games, which was the most he's missed in a while. But from 17 to 21, he only missed 3 total games. So there is a narrative that Keenan Allen is very injury-prone, and at times that has been true. But before this past season, he's actually been remarkably healthy for the Chargers for the past 4 or 5 seasons before that. So you're hoping if you bring him in here that he's someone who can stay healthy and at least give you 14 of 15 or 15 games out of 17, and then be healthy for potentially a playoff run if you were going to be a playoff team next year, which, by the way, he was healthy in the playoff game for the Chargers, in which they blew a 27-0 lead. Charger's going to Charger. All right, do you want Keenan Allen? Simple question. Type S for sign or P for pass. Do you want to bring the veteran receiver in Chicago? It's kind of crazy. He's already been around for 10 years. He's only 31, though, so it's not like he's super old. S for sign, P for pass. Do you want to bring Keenan Allen to Chicago? Now, today's show is sponsored by Manscaped, and I've been telling you guys about the Beard Hedger Pro Kit for a couple of weeks now, as Manscaped is now selling beard products. That's right. They have gone from Balls Mafia to Beard Mafia in 2023 to keep you well-groomed from head to toe with their brand-new Beard Hedger Pro Kit. In this package, it all starts with the Beard Hedger. The cordless trimmer has a rotary wheel with 20 hair cutting links all in one guard, so no more messy drawers full of extra add-ons. Sculpt your beard to a championship level this season with Manscaped and tame your mane by going to manscaped.com for 20% off. When you use code BEARS20, you'll also get free shipping as well. That is code BEARS20 at manscaped.com. Comes with the travel kit as well. Was able to pack it in my suitcase very easily to bring it here to Phoenix for Radio Row. If I need to give myself a little grooming, a little bit of a trim, very easy to do. It's manscaped.com, promo code BEARS20. Go check out the Beard Hedger Pro Kit. Let's go from one number one receiver to potentially another number one receiver. He hasn't been in Cincinnati, but that is Tee Higgins. Could he be a trade target for Chicago? We've talked about this a couple of times. I put out a short this past weekend giving quick thoughts on the topic. But Boomer Esiason hopped on 670 The Score and said the Bears should go out and get Tee Higgins. Thinks he's ready to take that next step and be a true number one for a franchise. Obviously, Cincinnati has Jamar Chase, someone they're going to have to prioritize with the contract. They're going to have to pay Joe Burrow. They've got cap space. They could make this work, but it's kind of one of those deals where you can't pay everyone, right? And maybe Tee Higgins is someone that they look at and say, okay, we like you a lot, but if we get a huge A.J. Brown type of trade offer, we might be willing to trade you. Now, is Ryan Poles willing to give up that kind of trade? You're obviously not going to send the number one overall pick, but do you send a second or third this year and then a 2024 first-round pick? It's a bit risky if it doesn't work out, obviously. And now, I'm a big fan of Tee Higgins. I do think he can be a number one. He's been remarkably consistent in his career, 3,000 yards and 19 touchdowns over three seasons, and that's being primarily a number two, especially the past 2 seasons behind Jamar Chase. He's a big receiver. He can go up and get it, high point the football. He's one of those players who's kind of always open even when he's covered, right? Just throw the ball high, and he's going to go up and get it more often than not. And obviously here, we've talked about it a bunch, he would clearly be the number one receiver here. Love Darnell Mooney. I think Claypool can be a nice player. Neither of those guys up to this point have proven they are a number one receiver, though. Tee Higgins, I guess, technically hasn't proven that, but he's put up number one receiver numbers. He just happens to be a number two next to a guy named Jamar Chase, who's a pretty darn special player. So I think he could be a top 15 receiver in this league, and if you bring him on board, he would certainly help this offense. Now, what do you think the better option is? Because obviously Tee Higgins, you're going to have to trade for and give up bigger assets. Allen might be a free agent. You might be able to sign him. So if you'd rather just sign Keenan Allen at a more team-friendly deal and not give up trade chips, type KA. If you'd rather trade for Tee Higgins, more of a long-term option, a higher ceiling option, of course, type TH. But just know with Higgins, you're obviously giving up a whole lot more. Now, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Like I said off the top, we will be here at Radio Row for Super Bowl 57 all week, bringing you Chicago Bears videos. Might work in some interviews as well. We'll see what comes our way. So be sure to turn on those notifications as we will be publishing content on the channel all week long. And also, the NBA trade deadline is here this Thursday. Our guys back at the Chat Sports Studios will have you guys covered on our main Chat Sports YouTube channel, youtube.com/chatsportstv. Zach LaVine, a lot of buzz around the Bulls. Could they make a splashy move either as buyers or sellers? Keep an eye on that. Will Scott, Tom Dowdy, and the rest of the team back in Dallas will have you guys covered with live wall-to-wall coverage. All right, final story here. Super Bowl media night took place last night, and I posted this clip on Instagram, which, by the way, I just had to repost it. IG was giving me some trouble, so apologies for any of the audio errors there. But got to spend a few minutes with former Bears head coach Matt Nagy, talk about his time in Chicago, and he gave me some thoughts on Justin Fields. So here's what the former Bears head coach had to say.
I would say this. I'd say it's unfair right now to put any type of expectations on somebody with that for 2 reasons. Number one, with Patrick, where he's at in his career and what he's done. I mean, he's done a lot of great things. But the second part, and more important to Justin, is again, a lot of these guys, they need a little bit of time, and I don't think it's fair to the player to have those expectations that early right away. I mean, what he's done and what he did this year. is just phenomenal, and it's great for him. And I haven't talked to him, but I'm sure he would say that he knows he wants to get better and improve in certain areas, but he will do that. And again, they'll do great things for him, around him, and but there's got to be patience involved. There really does.
Is there something in his maybe not playing style but mentality that reminds you about Mahomes' work ethic? Are there similarities there?
Yeah, I think number one, they're winners, and they want to be able to. They're very competitive. They're both very competitive. Sure. Justin hates to lose. That. You see that. But he's also learning within, at least for in his rookie year with me, learning the process, and he's going to grow each day. Every year he's going to get better, and just to see what he did and just grow as a quarterback. Every quarterback has certain areas that they can get better at, and I'm sure he'll be the first to tell you that he'll create where he can get better, and he'll work hard at it in the offseason, and he'll do it next year.
Listen, I found Nagy to be very honest and open last night. He obviously hasn't had a chance to talk about his time in Chicago a lot since he left. Got that Chiefs gig pretty quickly after he was let go by the Bears. Always pulled for him. I think I had hope for him longer than most, but obviously last year it became pretty clear that they had to go in a new direction. We'll see what the future holds for him, and obviously what the future holds in Chicago. He helped, like I said, draft Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City, helped draft Fields in Chicago. Hopefully Fields is the guy for this franchise for a very, very long time. Now, since we are here for Super Bowl week, got any Super Bowl predictions? Who wins Super Bowl 57? Type KC for the Chiefs or type PHI for the Eagles. We'll see you soon here on Bears Now, live from Radio Row in Phoenix.